Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about my recent transition from being a W-2 CRNA to now being a 1099 CRNA. I've been a practicing CRNA for about a year and a half now and started working immediately as a W-2 CRNA when I finished school. And the main reason I did that is just because I knew eventually I wanted to be a 1099 CRNA, but I just knew there was a lot to learn about being a 1099 CRNA. I knew you have to worry about getting different benefits set up, getting malpractice insurance. I just knew that it was a lot up front that I would have to figure out. And I just knew as a new grad CRNA that I just didn't want any extra stresses because I knew that I was going to be nervous and anxious just getting out of school and having to practice on my own. So I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to go W-2. That sounds like pretty simple, straightforward. So that's what I did. But recently I got married and I had to move to the DC area. So since I knew that I was gonna have to get a new job anyway, I was like, okay, this is the perfect time. I've been practicing for a year and a half. I feel more comfortable in my skills and my confidence. I was like, this is the perfect time to go ahead and make that transition to a 1099 CRNA. So that is what I did. I made the leap, even though it was a little nerve-wracking. I knew it was the right choice and I still feel like it's the right choice. So I'm excited to learn more about being a 1099 CRNA. And by no means am I an expert yet. I'm learning new stuff every day. I'm listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and doing all that I can to learn about it. But I'm going to tell you in this video why I decided to become a 1099 CRNA. So the main difference between a W-2 CRNA versus a 1099 CRNA has a lot to do with taxes. So with a W-2 CRNA, you are employed by an anesthesia group or a hospital, and when you get your paycheck, the tax is already taken out. Versus a 1099, you're like an independent contractor that's hired at a hospital. It can be a long-term situation, a couple months, maybe even just a couple shifts just to fill a need. And with that, your taxes aren't taken out. So when you get your paycheck, it's whatever your hourly rate is or your salary, it's all that, and then taxes get taken out later. But with W-2 versus 1099, it's not just about taxes, it's also about benefits, flexibility, kind of freedom differences that are the difference between the two as well. So why I decided to become a 1099 CRNA is that at my first job as a CRNA, I saw some CRNAs that were doing locums. They were 1099 and doing locums at the hospital I was at. So they were technically, it felt like they were full-time employees as well, but they weren't hired by the anesthesia group that the rest of us full-time employees were. They were 1099s who were contracted in to work for a certain period of time, and they just kept renewing their contract. So the whole time I was there, which was 4 months, but the whole time I was there, they were there as well. So they just felt like co-workers that were full-time as well, but they made more than us, and they definitely had a more flexible schedule. And one of the CRNAs was always just telling me how much she made, and just she was just saying this is awesome, you should eventually do this, it works well. And she was like, I get control of my schedule. And then at my next job, there was also a CRNA that came in, and he was just awesome, really intelligent, really on top of his skills, and had been a CRNA for a while. I think he also was CRNA in the Army, but he just sat down with me one day in the break room and just was telling me how awesome it is to be a 1099 and how flexible it is and how much he enjoys it. And he was like, you really have to get into this. This is awesome. So I was like, okay, for my next job, I'm definitely becoming a 1099 CRNA. I didn't want to get stuck being a W-2 just because it was comfortable and it was what I was used to. I was like, I really need to make sure I at least try being a 1099. If I don't like it and it's not something that I enjoy, I can always go back to W-2. So since I had to move and get a new job, I was like, this is the perfect time. So I was just like, I'm just looking at 1099 jobs. I'm going to figure it out and make it work. So some of the things that I really enjoy about being a 1099 CRNA so far, I have a list on my computer. So some of the things that I am enjoying is that I have more flexibility with my scheduling. So right now I'm working as a locum 1099 CRNA. So basically I'm working at an outpatient center I signed a contract to work there for a couple of months with the option to extend it at the end of the contract. Basically, I'm filling a full-time position, but I'm not like a full-time employee there since my end date is kind of set unless I extend it. And with that, it's nice because since I'm not like a full-time employee, like other CRNAs there, I get to choose my vacation time. So when I applied for the job, I told them what weeks I wanted off. And then if that worked for them and it worked for me, then I signed the contract and I get that time off. So that's a good thing about 1099 is that you have freedom and flexibility with your scheduling. Like I know next year, I want to go to Dubai to visit a friend who's been living there abroad for a while. And it's going to be like a trip and my bachelorette into one, like a trip abroad to visit a friend and my bachelorette trip. He was like, let's just combine it. So I already know like in February, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. And it's nice because at my old job, like I wouldn't know if I was going to get those weeks off. Like there's 6 other CRNAs who also, we have to like split up the weeks and divide them. And if someone chooses the week that you wanted, like you're kind of out of luck. That week's already gone. So luckily as a 1099 CRNA, like the weeks I want to take off or know I want to take off, I'm going to take them off because I choose my schedule and I just tell wherever I'm working, like, hey, I can't come during this week. And then they will find another CRNA who's like another locums or a PRN CRNA to fill that need for that week that I'm gone. But I basically let them know like this week I can't work, which is really nice. I love that I can take off as little weeks as I want or as many weeks as I want. Next year is super busy for me because I'm having my wedding, I have my bachelorette trip, and just like in general, me and my husband probably just want to travel since we've kind of been like locked in with COVID and everything. So it's gonna be nice just to be able to take off certain weeks or even a month if I want to because I'm a 1099 CRNA. Another aspect of being a 1099 that I really like is flexibility. I like being able to work at a hospital, and if I like it, I can extend a contract. So I can be there 3 months, and then at the end of that contract, if I like it and they still have a need, we can extend it for another 3 months. I know some locums people who have worked at hospitals for multiple years because there's just a constant need, and they're basically a full-time employee there. Everybody knows them, but they're an independent contractor, which is really nice. And I also like that if I don't like a place after a couple weeks or months, however long my contract is, I can just peace out and go somewhere else to work. And then you can also choose places based on like what skills you want to work on or what skills you like. So if I like orthopedic surgery, I can work at like an outpatient orthopedic surgery center. Or if I like plastics, I can work at a plastic surgery center. Or if I like OB, I can go to the hospital and maybe do just like a OB call situation. Or if I want to get better at regional blocks, I can work at a place that allows CRNAs to do the regional blocks there. If I want to work at a place that has like MDs and we work collaboratively, I can do that. Or if I want to work at just a CRNA only place, I can do that. Or if I want to work independently by myself somewhere, I can do that. So it's just so much flexibility and just so much opportunities to work on certain skills or work in places that I like, which I really like, because sometimes you get at a job and you'll be there for 2 years and like maybe half the cases aren't cases that you enjoy doing, or maybe you don't get to do regional blocks and you want to improve on that skill and get better at that. So it just provides a lot of flexibility to always be seeking things that you enjoy or want to get better at. So another nice aspect of being a 1099 is increased pay as well. So since as a 1099, I'm a business owner, a lot of expenses that are associated with work can be tax deductible. And that could be things if like you have a home office for your job as a CRNA, or travel expenses, or also paying for your ACLS, BLS, that's all tax deductible. If I needed scrubs or new shoes for work, that's tax deductible. For me personally, I'm going to use an accountant at least for the first year or two as a 1099 CRNA, so they can help me figure out the correct way and legal way to do my taxes and know it's tax deductible. And then another aspect I like about being a 1099 CRNA is that I just didn't want to get rigid and just kind of stuck in the same workplace for too long and not have the flexibility that I had as a student, where I was so used to going to different hospitals and adjusting to new situations and new surgeons, new staff, and just like I kept up that momentum of always being ready for new things. And I like the idea that as now a practicing CRNA, I can still keep up that flexibility of being able to adapt to new situations and not become rigid and scared to go out to new hospitals or new jobs. So that's something that I really enjoy about being a 1099 CRNA. And then thankfully at this point in time, there's numerous 1099 CRNA jobs. And I know people that have been 1099 CRNAs for 10, 20 years and have been able to find jobs constantly, and they network so they can go back to other old jobs that they enjoyed as a 1099 and just kind of keep those relationships and bonds. So when they need a job, they can reach out to other people if they don't feel like going on like job boards. So that gives me a lot of hope that people have been able to keep this up for multiple years, and we're never out of a job for a long period of time unless they wanted to be. So of course, with all the benefits of becoming a 1099, there was also cons that I recognized. And since I've only been a 1099 for how many months? Like 2 months, there's so much to learn and to find out about 1099 CRNA. So here's some of the cons that I noticed up front. So one of the cons is you have to figure out a lot regarding taxes and benefits, and just there's a lot of work you have to do up front to kind of set yourself up for success as a 1099 CRNA. Luckily for me, I was able to go on my husband's health benefits, dental and vision and all that kind of stuff. So his job covers that. But I know for a lot of people it can be expensive, so they kind of have to decide the cost benefits of becoming a 1099 CRNA, since you do have to pay for your like medical benefits and all that kind of stuff. And then you also have to worry about malpractice insurance. Luckily right now, my locums contract, they cover my malpractice insurance. So that's something definitely you have to think about. And then another thing is you don't have a 401k match like you do with a W-2, which is nice because that's like, I don't know if all W-2s, but a lot of W-2s have like a match. They match your 401k by a certain percentage. As a 1099, there's no employment match. So you just have to put in a certain amount on your own. But the positive thing about a 401k as a 1099 is that the max you can contribute is higher. So I think just a normal 401k at a job, the max for 2022 was $20,500, and with a solo 401k, which is what you could have as a 1099, the max is $61,000. So you can contribute more, and since you make more, like you'll be able to contribute more to your retirement, which is really nice. But you do have to keep up with all that too, because there's no employee sending you like, hey, like, do you want to sign up for a 401k? It's like you have to seek out these things. So you really have to stay on top of all this so you don't like end up screwing yourself in the long run. Another con is that you will have a harder time having those long, close-knit relationships with coworkers, since as a 1099, a lot of 1099 jobs, especially locums in particular, you're only at a hospital or outpatient center for a short amount of time. So you may be there just for like 3 or 4 months and then it's done. So the staff, at least at this current job, the staff is very nice and friendly to me, but they may also just kind of like keep their distance since they know I'm only there for a limited amount of time. So like, what's the point of like creating a friendship with somebody who's only there temporarily? So that could be an issue. And then another thing is that you have the stress of starting over new over and over again. So if you're not good with being flexible, and this is specifically, I'm talking about locums CRNAs, because there are some 1099 CRNAs that stay at a hospital for a long period of time, years, so they don't have to worry about this stuff. But like as a locums CRNA, which is what I am right now, you do have to start over constantly. So the first couple of days at a new facility, you have to learn where everything is, learn the charting system, learn who, like the nurses versus the doctor versus the other CRNAs versus the surgical techs. You kind of don't know which staff is which is kind of a lot, and you don't know the charting system. So The first like day, at least at this job I went to now, was like a little overwhelming and stressful because it's just so much information that you have to learn. But by like the second week, after about like 3 days, I felt like more comfortable and in a routine. So that was good. So that gave me confidence because I was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I'm learning people's name. Like I've been there about a month and I know like half the staff's name, which is pretty good, right? Because most people don't wear name badges. So I'm like, okay, I know half of you guys' names. It's pretty good. But that's another con. It's just having to start over and learn new things like every couple of months can be kind of a lot. But even with all those cons, I cannot stress how nice it is to have so much flexibility in my schedule. I get to have the whole week off after Thanksgiving. Like this year I have Thanksgiving day off and then like the whole rest of the week and then the whole next week where I can just like be home in Atlanta with my family, which is really nice. And I also made sure to end this contract that I'm in now on December 23rd. So then I have Christmas and New Year's off. So I just know like as a 1099 CRNA, I never have to work any holidays. If my friends are like, hey, we should go on this trip next year, I know I can take off like a week, 2 weeks, a month if I want to go on a nice trip. There's just so much flexibility in my scheduling and I don't feel like constrained or locked down anywhere. I can move about. If I don't like a hospital or outpatient center, I don't have to stay there. I can learn new skills and go here and there. I really like the flexibility this provides. I'm such a free-spirited person by nature and I just love like having freedom to go and roam and learn new things. So I just feel like 1099 is set up nicely for people who love that flexibility and love just being able to go and not be like locked down with a specific job in a specific place. It's really nice. So that is pretty much all for this video. I hope it was informative and helpful. In the future, when I get more experience as a 1099 and kind of learn more about taxes and benefits and all the kind of stuff that makes up being a 1099, I'll definitely make videos about it because I know I didn't know a lot about 1099 when I started as a 1099 CRNA, and there's a ton to learn. So hopefully I can just learn more and give it back to you all who are watching this. But thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.